Namaste and welcome to Mantras for Peace from the banks of the Holy Ganges River. We're here today with Michelle Button. She has other names too, I'll let her tell you about those. Who is a sound healer and really multicultural goddess of peacemaking. I've given you that, maybe no one's ever called you that before, but that feels like how I would introduce you to a friend. So, friends, meet Michelle.
Namaste, Ometel, thank you so much, Anandra, and what a beautiful, magical gift of life to be here on the banks of the Ganges River in Rishikesh, sharing this moment together and these messages.
Yeah. So starting with that, what is the message that you would share about to someone who has a wish for peace in their heart?
I love it. Well, usually I ask people, you know, what is it that your heart sings? You know, what is the sound of your heart? What is that calling? You know, how would you like another person, you know, to hear your heart when you walk by? Because we're emanating energy, we're emanating vibration. You know, we're actually a whole symphony, a walking symphony. So basically we are all sound healers in life, and this was, you know, the path that I decided to journey upon, to follow my heart and just to be that peace. You know, it's not about going out and changing everybody or everything, and like, because I went through that phase. Obviously, when I had my spiritual awakening, I wanted to invite everybody. You know what I'm saying? You have to.
And everyone didn't come?
And everybody didn't come, and it was like, you guys are missing, you know, like this whole gift, this present. You know, for me it was like, you know, here's an ice cream, do you want it? And I had a lot of no's or walkaways. So then I decided just to, you know, to live it inside of myself. And to follow my heart's calling, you know, and to be able to share, you know, my inner song, you know, first for myself, because this is what I believe in. I believe that that shift of consciousness begins inside, you know, and obviously for me, sound and music has been a fundamental part of my life. Through, you know, just expressing, and, you know, I was also a DJ.
Okay, add that to the list.
So, so this is what, you know, really started motivating me, and seeing, you know, how the energy of a space would shift. You know, sharing uplifting music with messages, and I would actually use mantras, right, you know, in the middle of a set. And the energy would shift like this, and you're creating space.
Wow.
So then,
tell me a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I would guess, I have a theory that if most people look back at their lives, that we would count our peak experiences would almost always involve music. And I think that there's especially there's a whole generation of people that are into electronic music that have this like group consciousness, that the group is a huge part of that culture. So share a little bit about what you learned there. Like, how do you plant the seeds to cultivate the kind of environment that you want as a DJ?
Oh, it is. It's sound. I mean, this is it. This is a vibration and the frequency that you're creating in the space. You can decide what you want to do with it. It's become, you become a DJ of the heart.
Yeah.
And so, if you choose songs that have a high frequency with messages. So this is what I would work with, creating, like bringing people to connect with their heart, messages of love, messages regarding the Mother Earth, messages of community, family, life, nature, and so this, you're creating, you're planting a seed in the subconscious, and I could live it. I mean, it was automatic. Whenever I would come on after another DJ, and then all of a sudden I would begin with a mantra, the whole place would just stop, and they would listen, and you could feel that shift in the energy. And so, I mean, when I went through my 180-degree shift, I would say.
So were you playing the mantras before you knew what they meant?
Well, I was always connected with, with teachings and wisdom. So yes, I would play them before I had my awakening. And then obviously when I had my awakening, I could feel, on a deeper level, with that intention of what was happening with the music. So we can create spaces of peace, anywhere we go.
Yeah.
People have this idea that I have to sit, in a quiet space, with my altar, or with music, or with oming, or with a candle, and the peace is within you, and you take it wherever you go.
Yeah.
This is what I have learned. One of my teachers said, you just stick to what you're doing and what you believe in. Whatever's happening around you, it's happening. So this would be, one of my teachings and inspirations, is that we don't have to go outside. If we just tune in to ourselves, and breathe and feel. And obviously music is a vehicle that, induces us to this space, because we know music can make us happy, music can make us sad, music can remind us of, our boyfriend, or it can remind us of, any situation in our life. It just connects us in that instant.
Yeah.
And through these sounds, what I have experienced is that, when that sound comes in and touches that inner fiber, that inner fiber connects to God, to the universe, to divine, to source. And it remembers, we recall where we come from. We recall that we are, I say, we are a stardust of that creation, of that magic of life. And in that instant, there's a shift in consciousness. So it brings us back. And this is why, song in the cultures, in the dances, all the indigenous tribes, song is part of the life.
Yeah. And it's not song, it's not song for entertainment. It's song for ceremony, and it's song to be shared. Am I right with that?
It's a prayer. Song as a prayer.
Yeah.
And this is it. To bring in this sense of prayer and of ceremony into our lives. It doesn't mean I need to follow a religion or a tradition. This is just, universal. It's a prayer to nature. It's a prayer to what gives us life. And if we can cultivate, walking in prayer, well, then we create this cycle, we create this energy, we create this vibration, and then we can commune with nature. We can commune with the wind, with the water, with the fire, with the earth, and this brings awareness also. This brings awareness that if I'm taking care of walking in prayer, what am I setting out every day? How can I walk in prayer? What prayer song am I going to leave today for myself and for others? It's like, okay, if I walk by, what is that symphony? What does that sound like?
Yeah, I love that idea. It's a beautiful visual. Yeah.
So this is what I ask. I ask people, and I ask the youth especially. What is that song? How does it sound? What instruments are in this symphony of yours? And and it's about coming together in this space of the circle. We have the spiral energy. So it comes from our heart, and it spirals out around our body, then touches our first circle. So our first circle is our friends, our family, parents, which is probably where most of life's issues are. So if we begin, spreading this song of life, this prayer to our first circle, then this will touch the following circles, which is our community. And from there, we spread it around wherever we go. For me, this is walking in beauty, as the elders have taught us and teach us, and what I have learned, to be able to just walk, like now in this moment. We just even take a moment to listen, and see how the river is flowing, and the sound that it makes. This is happening within ourselves.
It's enough. It's enough, yeah. To walk back, to move in connection, just to begin that listening. I want to hear, I'm so curious about your walk with the indigenous elders, because that's how I met Michelle last year here in Rishikesh. She was part of a magnificent entourage of more than 100 indigenous elders and leaders and youth from North, Central, and South America. And we didn't get a chance to talk to you because we were busy interviewing some of them, but I'm so glad that you're here again this year, so we can, because I would imagine that like me with the Indian culture, you're kind of a bridge, or even literally a translator sometimes. So I'd love to hear more about that. Like how did you find that way? And maybe if you have like a teacher or two that really stands out, or something that comes on your heart that you'd like to share with the global audience. Because I think that the indigenous voice is often so underrepresented, and maybe you can be a mouthpiece for that, especially those who don't speak English that you know.
Well, thank you. It is an honor. Well, basically, how I started on this indigenous path of culture, of recalling and remembering, is because I have a festival that also came from a vision that I had in my heart to create a festival to promote peace through music and healing arts, and to honor the indigenous tribes, because I believe that the wisdom is there. You know, these are the walkers of the earth, the custodians of the sacred fire, the first people, you know, the first nations are the first to protect their lands. And so the festival Shikome, which is number 7 in Nahuatl language. So if you repeat Shikome out loud phonetically, Shikome, 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 Shiko. So the original name of Mexico is Mexico. And so this is a call, a calling to awaken us through this vibration, which is a frequency. And because of this vision of wanting to share a collective ceremony of what I have been receiving with society, is that I began walking, and you know, walking with the Mexica, with the Maya, with the Quero, with the Wixárika nation, with the Lakota nation. And well, at the beginning it was not easy, because they would be like, you know, what are you doing here? You know, especially in Mexico, because I'm light colored, blue-eyed, and they'd be like, you know, what is this? And the thing is that, you know, I would hear the drumming of the drum, you know, the wewet, which are the drums for the traditional dances, and you know, I would get, you know, just shivers in my body of excitement. You know, and I would just start moving and dancing with them, or you know, or when I would sit with the shipibos, you know, and listen to the icaros, or you hear the violin. I mean, any instrument would just, I would feel it in my heart. So this is when I understood that, you know, this is a calling from the heart. You don't, you know, it doesn't matter if you're Maya or you're Mexica or you're Quero, or white, or blue, or black. You know, we are all protectors of the land, because it's one land, it's one earth, one Gaia. And so I've been walking more with the Wixárika nation, which are the fire keepers.
Is that this
art is made
from there?
This art is made from the Wixárika also, which are these beads. You know, each bead represents a prayer, and they have opened, you know, their hearts to be able to learn the teachings of the sacred fire, which for many cultures, you know, the fire brings us together always, you know, in circle. And it's through the fire that I learned to pray. And what I can share is that the universe does listen to our prayers. Every prayer that I have sent out, you know, has become manifest. Obviously not in my times, you know.
Not in your choice,
right.
Of timing.
I mean, the universe and, you know, God has its timing, so we just need to trust and have faith, and to, you know, maintain and cultivate the intention, you know, that intention. So, you know, if there's a intention to heal, if there's intention to feel love, whatever your intention may be, you know, the universe does listen. And so for me, this has been one of the most humble and important teachings I have received in all circles, is the power of prayer. And this can be through song, or it can be through an instrument, or it can be through a dance, or it can be through creating an altar or a mandala of flowers and fruits. You know, prayer comes in many shapes and forms. The importance is that, you know, that it comes from your heart with that intention, that what we're offering for all our relations. there's a Lakota saying that says, "Aho mitakuyansin." So, you know, everything that I create, everything that I think, everything that I do, I act, you know, may it be for all my relations. So when you start, you know, becoming aware and bringing this consciousness is that, you know, this is for all my relations, well then you take a moment and you reflect upon, you know, what am I doing? You know, is this that I'm doing? Is this benefiting all my relations? You know, and sometimes it can be painful because, you know, we carry baggage from our generations, and we are capable, you know, of taking that decision to clear. To heal, because yes, we are divine, and we are, you know, a mirror image of God. Yet we do have a process of healing that we are going through, you know, individually and collectively. And so, you know, if we start walking the path, it's a journey. You know, this doesn't happen in one day.
What fun would that be?
And so it's about, you know, walking. For me, it's walking in ceremony, walking in prayer, and you know, and sharing from the space. And this, you know, I've learned every day is a teaching. You know, even with sound. You know, now that I've been working with sound. From the DJ, now I move to the bowls. So instead of having turntables, I have singing bowls and instruments that I move. You know, and we can make the shift. We can make the shift. It's, you know, it's possible to you know, it's a transmission. This is what I've learned. You know, these are transmissions, ancestral teachings. You know, I'm sure you live this with the teachings here. You know, it's just about sitting in the space and you're already receiving the transmission. So as much as you read, you can read and read and read and read. Although, you know, when you sit in circle, this is where you're receiving the teachings.
Yeah. And that, you know, I mean, to all my relations includes past, present, and future, right? So like that ancestral healing is now, and then it spills over into the future. At least that's how I perceive it. But I guess, you know, for this Mantras for Peace project, what we're getting at from like so many different angles is just what you said, where, you know, you take a moment to think about how your decision in that moment is impacting all of your relations, and it fits so well with the one of the main mantras for the global chant initiative is Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu, which is like, that's just the Sanskrit version of to all my relations, basically. You know, the idea, may all the beings in all the worlds be happy, past, present, future, living, non-living, insect, bird, plant, animal, you know, and that's it. So,
and this is, well, no, this is a coming together. You know, this is a unity that the water, you know, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the human kingdom, you know, all the kingdoms, you know, we're all interconnected, we're all interrelated, and we forget. So, and this is it. This is where we come together. You know, we come together through the mantra.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what language it is. It's the language of sound. It's the language of music. And this is a universal language.
Yeah.
You know, for me, this is it. This is where it all happens, because this is the universe. The universe is sound. And
so let's party.
So I think this is beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
we can go on forever.
We can.
And thank you. I really appreciate and honor. And maybe I can play some.
Yes,
flute.
please.
So.
You've got your we were just playing, well, I didn't play, but she was playing Holi, so she has the flowers and the colors still. You're just
so happy Holi.
You're a vision. Please play.
Happy Holi. So if you're listening to this, just listen to this prayer from Great Spirit. It's a prayer from the elders to all our relations.
Thank you so much.
Kamati. Thank you, Ganga.
Jai Gange.
Jai Gange.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.